Hi, my name is Randy Brooks, and welcome to NBAA 2016, where I'm talking with Mike Marlowe. And Mike's going to give us a little perspective on his background as an aviator, and then talk about an incident that he has that will illuminate the importance of upset prevention and recovery training. So, Mike, to start with, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Thanks for having me. I'm a military trained pilot. Learned how to fly in a T-34, my first aircraft, a fully aerobatic aircraft, and went on to fly numerous things in the Navy, and now I'm a corporate pilot flying a Global Express.
So, as a pilot trained by the Navy, they did some all-attitude, all-envelope training with you in the T-34?
Yeah, that was some of the first things we did. Is after that, after level flight, learning how to land, we'd go right out and do aerobatics and upset recovery training in the aircraft, and it was quite exciting after having about 20 hours under your belt to be upside down that quickly.
I'm sure it was. So now why don't you get to the incident that we're going to discuss here and explain that to the folks.
Well, about 10 years into my career, I started flying King Air C-12s, and I was doing an instructor training flight, and part of that training is taking the aircraft up and taking it to almost full stall. So we went up, the instructor and I, two experienced pilots, and went to full stall, and the airplane starts to shake and buffet, and as we went to recover, we had asymmetrical spool up of the engines, which flipped us inverted and into a spin. And you don't expect that in a King Air. You expect it in other planes, but not a King Air. And I think one thing about it was the dirt in your eyes and the actual feeling of being upside down. I believe my training in the military just kicked in instinctively and appropriately handled the emergency, and we recovered from the spin. Not to say we weren't a little shaken up, but we did recover from the spin, and talked about that incident a little bit later after we landed. But it was overall a great learning experience and something you never would expect and happened at that particular time.
Well, thank you, Mike, and we're glad that it had a happy ending, but I do have two questions for you. The first is, you know that aerobatic training and upset prevention recovery training is not required for civilian pilots. How do you think that particular incident, which could easily happen to a civil King Air pilot, might have ended differently without your training?
I think it would have ended catastrophically, I really do. Not just saying that because I'm a military trained guy, but I think having that experience of being upside down in a real aircraft and that feeling of what's going on, and then knowing how to look at it, feel it, and recover from it was paramount in our success. I think the simulator gives good training, but until you've really been upside down in an aircraft, I don't think that it's really gonna save you.
So can you speak a little bit to, because as a corporate pilot, you have to go to simulator training regularly, as everybody flying a jet or most turbine aircraft do. What do you identify as the differences between simulator training and that on-aircraft training that you had?
I think that there's the threat is not there. You don't feel the upset. You're just looking at a gyro. You're going, okay, recover now. It's about 3 minutes of your training. There's not a lot of stress put on it during the whole training evolution, because I just don't think the simulator has the fidelity or the ability to do that, and people take it for granted. I think you really need to be trained. I think part of the training should be actual in-aircraft training to feel what it's like, because unless you feel what it's like, you don't know how you're really going to react.
Well, Mike, we appreciate that perspective from somebody who has experienced an actual in-flight upset, and your perspective on the training that helped you and could help other pilots in similar situations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.